Morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, Saturday morners, coffee moaners, pilchard pickers, ferret furriers, squirrel squishers. How are we all? Hello, I've got my drinks around me. I have my electrolytes. I have my turmeric. I have my coffee. How are we all? What a week it's been, hey? What a week. You've got a fantastic Curly Cooks coming up. Buxom broads with great big jugs of beer. Salmon. Bloody brilliant. And as if by magic, for my 20th sober anniversary weekend, which is on Monday. Thank you for all of your messages so far. Thank you so much. I really was touched by all your really meaningful messages under Nick Cage downing a bottle of vodka on a toilet on my Instagram. Thank you so much. Julie the Singing Nutcase. Mark, what free museums and what free would you recommend? Oh God, that's a difficult one. I don't think any museums are free. Tate Britain. I would go to Tate Britain. That's free, the permanent collection. There's always something. The reason it's always good for youngsters, there's always something curiously sort of weird. Morning Zoe, morning April, morning everyone. But more on that at a later date. Let's get on with the news. And let's face it, what's happened today? Israel has attacked Iran. But of course, it's not an attack, it's self-defense, which was against self-defense by Iran, which was defense. But anyway, some missiles have been fired at Iran. No one knows what the consequences are going to be. No one really knows how severe they are. Here's a little timeline. 9:09 a.m., 2 Iranian soldiers killed. 4:46 a.m., Israeli strikes have concluded. I was going off to sleep last night, and the story just broke. Israel fires at Iran. It has all the feelings about it of set dressing. Like, they've had to do this, they have to do, we've said it before. All these countries having to fire rockets just to save face. So let's just hope, now they've all fired their rockets, now they've got all their toys out and waved them around, it calms down a bit, because all it does is mask the plight of everyone in Gaza and the West Bank. It's all a constant distraction. So that's the big news that's not in the papers, because obviously that happened late last night. The only thing that is in the papers today, curiously, is this. Iran's plan for 1,000 missile blitz on Israel. But let's not forget, can you just feel the achingly obvious attempts of the press to just twist the story around so that everything Israel does is reasonable? Oh, no. I think we just move on from that. Okay. Trump backer Elon Musk's cozy chats with Putin. When I read this headline, I sort of had visions of Val Doonican, Val Doonican being Putin, and Elon Musk sort of alongside him going, who feels we have like a whole bunch of sort of Bond villains running around? So this is the story that Elon Musk has cozy chats with Vlad. Here's a question. I just want to ask you this. Okay, everyone says, why do Trump and Putin get on well? What is this weird sort of fascination that Trump has with Putin? Do we mind Trump perhaps being a bit buddy-buddy with Putin if it means that it ends a war or prevents them expanding further into Europe? Or do we think that Trump's buddy-buddiness with Putin will still lead to him kind of encroaching on the rest of Europe? I don't know. I think one of the problems that all global politics is struggling with now is that the con and the propaganda and the lies that have been thrown out by the mainstream media, I think we just all have to absolutely challenge everything we receive. I'm not suggesting for a minute Putin isn't a nasty piece of work. Of course he is. But everyone is. Everyone is. Just because you've got Star. Has anyone seen the images of Starmer this week looking like the guy you would not want to invite to a party at virtually every single thing he's been at? It's like photos of him. It's just like that. One thing that doesn't change is his facial expression. It's the same for whatever he's doing. Oh, thank you so much, all of your lovely comments. I think there might be a bit of a delay. Proud about the sobriety thing. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. We're going to be talking about it. I'm going to be doing a 20-year sober chat because it throws up weird things. And it has thrown up weird things. And my sober birthday does every year. So we'll be doing that. We'll be touching upon it on Monday, but I will also be uploading something else as well, all about it. But thank you so much. I really appreciate all your comments in the chat. So yeah, I don't know. We've got Trump, we've got Elon Musk, we've got Putin. It's like Austin Powers, isn't it? I mean, you wouldn't believe this. I mean, it's like the cast from an Austin Powers film. Weird as hell. What do you think of this, guys? Poppies in Pride flag row. So this is gay groups blast £8 badge. Veterans and gay rights campaigners have blasted the Royal British Legion yesterday after it released, it's not cheap, an £8 poppy appeal badge with a controversial Progress Pride flag attached. Now, those who object to this say this is just woke gesture for the sake of woke gesture. The feeling being that any poppy is fundamentally inclusive of all soldiers who've died, regardless of ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, etc. Did they need to add the pride flag to the poppy? That's the question. One critic says it has nothing to do with Remembrance Day. The poppy badge was already inclusive. Another said the poppy represents everyone who has made the ultimate sacrifice and doesn't need tampering with. I'm kind of the opinion to agree. Does anyone else? Do you agree? There's definitely a delay here, isn't there? What do you think? I'm just waiting for you to kind of come through on this. So poppies and pride flag round. £8 is a lot, isn't it? I do think charity. Oh, here we go. Thank you, Jola. Woke for woke's sake. I just don't. Why does everything have to change? Why does everything have to be fiddled with? Hey, fiddle-dee-dee, leave my poppy badge to me. Gwyn, is that his name? No, not Gwyn. Wyn Evans is in another row. What has he said now? Well, apparently this was something he said at the beginning of the run, but it's only come to light since. I think calling his hand on his dancer's waist a grope is too much, personally. I've looked at the clip. I think it's too much to call it a grope. But this is about a joke that he told.
Say something?
Yes.
Okay. So.
Incoming.
Speaking from the position of somebody that has been groped in an unpleasant way and groped in a way that you want, to the outside world, and I don't even know what you're talking about, so I don't know what this is.
I'm talking about a joke he told.
Right. So a hand, you can literally, and a lot of women will know what I mean by this. So you can have a hand that goes like that.
Yeah.
And you could have a hand that would look exactly the same in the photograph, but it feels like that it doesn't feel
so it may
right.
have looked innocent, but might not have been.
Absolutely. So if the person who has had the hand on them says it felt like a grope,
which she hasn't,
then that's. But for somebody else to look at it and go, it's a grope or it's not a grope.
Well, let me throw another little spanner in the works.
Right.
She might have said it didn't feel like a grope, but is she telling the truth, or does she feel slightly under pressure?
Well, the whole world's going mad because we can't presume and wonder in this. If somebody hasn't made a complaint, what is it about?
So no one's complained about this, but this is a new one. This is Crude Wynn's joke. He likened his chin in the makeup chair to a vagina.
Right.
And people are saying, see, I thought this was quite funny.
But again, it so depends on the person and the vibe. Like makeup rooms, you can
doesn't look like any vagina I've seen.
You can say the most outrageous things in it, but it depends. Some people can say something and it's funny, and another person says it. So
the Strictly Come Dancing star has been accused of making a vulgar joke while having his makeup done. Sources claim that the opera singer jested that the folds of his double chin look like a vagina.
Well, I don't think it. First of all, I don't think you could possibly have ever seen a vagina.
I don't think. No. Also, I think what I don't like about it is taking a vagina's name in vain.
Oh, shut up!
No, I do.
Now we've all got.
It's a precious article, not to be popped under Wynn's chin. Wynn's chin, the quim. Sorry. Oh, dearie me. Does Wynn's chin win the quim? Okay, front of the sun. Oh, now it's not a great time to open the noisiest fucking bag on the planet.
If you were sat next to a man who said, "My chin looks like a vagina." Of course.
Of course, she said, in case you didn't hear that.
Sitting next to a man.
Oh, right. Would you be offended sitting next to a vagina that looks like Wynn's chin? That's a bigger question. The front of the sun today. I'm sorry. I know he's Marmite. I don't agree with him on anything, but he makes me laugh. Sorry, Jeremy Clarkson. Jeremy Clarkson says, "Booze, fags, meat, fun. I can have diddly squat if I want to carry on living." This is the news, obviously, that he's had, I think, stents and heart sort of surgery. But he is funny about this. Now the Grim Reapers poked his nose round the door. I've got an 11th job. not dying. I do like his delivery. I do find him funny.
He's an arrogant bastard,
He's an arrogant bastard, says Nads. But you wouldn't want him dead, would you? You wouldn't want him dying of a heart disease. So there he is with a goat. He says, I must live in a liberal Democrat fog of weeds, seeds, and yoga. I would pay an enormous amount of money. This is a new series Amazon Prime need to make. Jeremy Clarkson goes mindful. Jeremy Clarkson does mindfulness. I think this would be must-watch telly. So he says, I must live now in a Lib Dem fog of weeds, seeds, and yoga. Have you tried kale? It's like eating a battery. Sorry, makes me laugh every time. Right, who's watching Rivals? Me and Nan did. Me and Nan did? No, me and Nads did. Nadia, what do you think of Rivals?
I'm loving it. It's just nonsense.
Is anyone watching Rivals?
Good camp.
I love it. We're going to do a review of it once we've watched them all. The amount of buttocks rutting is quite something, isn't it? Dina will love it. Dina, you must watch Rivals. There's so much rutting. No, she'll love it. Rutting. Yes. Gratuitous sex, absolutely. Anyway, Jilly Cooper, who is a good egg. I like old Jilly Cooper. She says, I'm so glad they didn't blondly follow the book. Now, I've rather stupidly not included a shot of Hassel, the actor, as Rupert. He's an RSC actor who plays the lead cat. So she's pleased that they didn't follow the blonde look that her character had in the book. They've gone for the dark locks of Hassel, of Alex Hassel. Is anyone watching it? It's on Disney Plus. He plays a cat. I can't quite get on board with how beautiful people find him. It has the infamous scene of him and Emily Attack playing naked tennis, and you see his full cock, basically. You see his full penis. Anyway, Jilly Cooper's really pleased that they've kind of slightly tweaked it. I think it's great fun. And the other thing I think it's good about, started Rivals last night, very funny Laura Williams. It's also very good about, all the way through it last night, Nadia on the sofa was going, rival. You're looking for where the rivalry sets in. Absolutely. I'll tell you what it's done for me, which is really nice. I find Danny Dyer's character in it wondrous. I think he's absolutely fantastic in it. He's so funny. And wow, I love seeing actors that you think nothing of or have no opinion of, and then suddenly, ping, he does this. David Tennant, excellent in it. This guy, Alex Hassel, very good. I haven't got a photo of him. That's Han Solo, by the way. It's great fun. It's silly. It's bawdy. It's not meant to be taken seriously, and it's just a ripping good yarn. So if you haven't, check it out. But another story, there is a very controversial groping scene in the show. And the groping scene is where our lead character, Alex Hassel, gropes a much younger girl. And now he's the love interest for her. And this is the story in a podcast all about the making of Rivals. That you'll be interested in this, Nads. They had real issues with whether to include the groping scene or not, believing that in the post-Me Too age, modern viewers might have turned off.
Oh, well, I'm glad they did.
What? Kept it.
The modern age doesn't like it doesn't mean it's not bloody still happening.
Straight from the mouth of a woman who matters. What did you say? Just because the modern age minds it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. That's something like that. So it's good. I mean, can we cope with seeing a character grope a character and then be asked to still like them? It's real life, for God's sake. You're hearing it straight from a woman who knows. Oh, God. Now we can't even have banter in the office, apparently. Banter police could be patrolling the Christmas party. Hard-pressed bosses already have to deal with deadlines, red tape, and staff who won't come to the office. But now, the new employment rights bill is so potentially draconian, you're not going to be able to have sexy banter at the Christmas party. I hate banter when it's masquerades as banter, when it's actually bullying or sexism or what have you. So I think trying to define banter is a problem. Who here likes banter? Who thinks the banter police need to banter off? And who would like to do a bit more banter? Who likes banter? Or who thinks banter is a way to just bully? This is true. So the new employment rights bill adds new requirements on employers to take reasonable steps to prevent sexual harassment in the workplace. Obviously, this is a good thing, obviously. But what constitutes harassment is not spelt out in the bill. And there are fears that some bosses may be forced to start policing behavior because simple banter could be considered harassment. Critics also said the changes will pile yet more red tape on businesses while encroaching on free speech. Do we really need free banter speech? I suppose we do, don't we? It's just only a bit of bants. But don't you find when someone says something really fucking horrible and they smack you on the back and go, it's just a bit of bants, mate. It's a bit of bants. To a recovering alcoholic, this is a hideous, hideous headline. 500,000 bottles of fizz are wasted every year due to spillages. Good God. Did you hear this, Dina? 500,000 bottles of fizz are wasted every year to spillages. So this is Britons waste more than 500,000 bottles of sparkling wine when they open it and just let it fly everywhere. I mean, can you imagine that to an alcoholic? That's like, what? What a waste. Bubbly jubbly. But Aldi's wine expert, oh, don't mention that. Was it Aldi's wine expert you wanted to be, Dina? I think it was. Aldi's wine expert, yes, Sam Caphorn, gives 5 simple tips for opening a bottle. First, remove the muzzle and immediately pop your hand over the cork to ensure it stays there. So that's the, that bit. Hold the bottle in the palm of your hand, tilting it away, keeping the cork steady with one hand and twist the bottle, not the cork. Who knew that? Twist the bottle, not the cork. Aim for a gentle sigh rather than a loud pop. Needs to sound like Nads when she's on the loo. Ditch the flute and coupe. A tulip-shaped glass is ideal for bubbly. Does anyone else have a nightmare? Betty, Dina and Nadia sit down for dinner. They all want different glasses for different drinks. It's like, for fuck's sake, just drink the drink. Why? Fluted, a sort of big bottom shape, bell-shaped, small tumbler. Teddy comes in and he goes, just chuck it in that. I like him for that. Kate Bush is busy, or she's potentially busy. She says, I've got a lot of ideas. Well, that's good. Maybe an album will come out of that. You never know. It's a headline absolutely everywhere that Kate Bush has got lots of ideas. What's this one here? Kind of Netflix furore. It's a great word, that, isn't it? I can never say it. Furore. Netflix. How do you say it, Dina? Furore. Netflix furore. Could set murdering Menendez brothers free. This is obviously off the back of the Monster series on Netflix in LA. It looks like the two brothers in a retrial could be freed. The case, I don't know it at all. I haven't watched it. We haven't jumped on the great big Menendez monsters bandwagon, but it's very popular with everyone. But the suggestion being that they are themselves the victims of extreme abuse and sexual abuse and what have you and everything. Later Mr. Kim, but said they did so self-defense, due to sexual, physical and psychological abuse by their father. That would be interesting. I think it's going to be a big deal, isn't it, if they get freed, not a retrial, a resentencing. Yes, I think it might just be a reduction rather than a release. This headline has been flying around everywhere. This one, get on it, Mark. It's incredible. On what? Oh, monsters. Sorry, I thought you meant on the spillages of alcohol. This story is weird as hell. Helen Mirren, who went down in my estimation when she sort of blithely and blindly threw her support for Israel all over the place. Helen Mirren, I don't understand this headline. It's everywhere this week. Helen Mirren laments Kurt Cobain dying before the age of GPS. What? And every time I read this story, I think, has she had a bit of a kind of senior moment? Has she gone a bit weird? Dame Helen has added another. It's a tragedy, she says. Helen Mirren says it's a tragedy that Kurt Cobain never enjoyed modern satellite navigation. I'm sorry. This headline has been everywhere. Helen Mirren is sad that Kurt Cobain didn't have GPS. She needs help. Can anyone wrap their head around this one? She was speaking in an interview with the Evening Standard. It's not the first time she's lamented technology Cobain missed as a result of his suicide. In 2014, she apparently expressed that it was sad he didn't see the digital stuff that's going on. In 2015, she said to Cosmopolitan magazine, I was thinking about Kurt Cobain the other day, and he died without knowing the internet. What? Is this a little bit like, that thing when people have a sort of, I'm not saying there's anything erotic here, but a sort of obsessive fascination with automobiles? Please say why it's the new animated film with prison. Oh, okay. Thank you. I didn't realise that. LJ Soden. Please say why Kate Bush is really in the news. New animated film with proceeds going to WAF Child. Something I would have thought you and I didn't realise. I didn't realise that. That is brilliant news. I do apologise. Fantastic news. Thank you for clarifying, and I do apologise, LJ Sorden. Thank you, Soden. Thank you so much. That is brilliant news. What's this one? Public figures call for new regulations. Now, I touched upon this last weekend. This is really good. Therapists, rogue therapists. There are the obvious extreme ends of rogue therapists who are responsible for, I don't even remember, there was the case earlier this year of the chap who was a so-called sex therapist, had sex with his client. There's sexual exploitation, there's grooming, racism. An obvious one is financial abuse. So many therapists and therapy, and I think this is a real problem for the therapeutic world, because it's just like pharmaceuticals and the money involved. It's really hard to know what's required treatment and what's focused therapeutic treatment, and what is simply being thrown at you because they charge, quite extortionate fees for each session. It's very hard to know. It's a bit like going to a mechanic who says you need all these things doing. You've got no way of being able to check the car and go, oh, no, I don't. Do you know what I mean? Especially when it's matters of the mind, matters of the heart. It's really hard. And I think this call is really important. I think this is the kind of thing that Panorama should be focusing on rather than the HRT story, which is how, and I think the devil is in the detail. How does one go about actually implementing a really strict set of regulations? I mean, I did the first therapeutic counseling course qualification, and it's really intriguing to me how, I'm not saying it's a racket, but there is a real sort of narrative structure. It's not exactly a con, but there's the relationship between therapist and therapized. And I've had, I'm seeing a really good therapist at the moment, but it's really hard to know how you can judge that. And I think whilst there are extreme examples, which this story is talking about, extreme examples of, as I say, grooming, racism, sexual abuse, and what have you. But I also do think that rogue therapists can also really, really damage people's mental health. People who have problems before they go in can have bigger problems, and those problems then run with you throughout life. And it's a means of constantly tapping you for money. So I think I'm all for any kind of focus on cracking down on rogue therapists. And I mean, I don't even mean, unregulated therapists. I mean, properly recognized qualified therapists who I think take the absolute piss. So I think that's a good story. And of course, Ruby Wax is at the heart of that whole thing. Gen Z rethinks timing of New Year's resolutions with October theory. I think Dina's going to be big on this one. So this is the idea that fuck January for New Year's resolutions. We should be doing it in October. I agree. Yeah. October is the new January, according to TikTok users or Gen Zers. They're using the changing season to make huge lifestyle changes. Part of it tied in with the clock changes. Part of it tied in with the kind of going back to college. And if you think about it, even when you become an adult, we have the academic year baked in. I mean, obviously Dina does, she works in education, but we have the academic year, don't we, baked into us. It's almost like in our DNA. We always know when it's kind of school time, and we always kind of know when it's half term and all that kind of stuff. So, and if you think about it, Sober October happens in October too, doesn't it? Before what I call the November nightmare, which is everyone gets completely fucking hammered because they got sober for a month. So this is interesting that younger people are beginning to say maybe October's the time to make New Year's resolutions. I think it's a tricky time to do it, though, because you're heading into that wonderful party session, aren't you, of November and December, which is presumably just kind of Nightmare City for making every potential mistake in the book. And then you come out of Nightmare City socializing, drink, drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And then you hit Christmas, sit with your family, and you think you're fucking boring, and then everyone divorces. So I don't necessarily know if it is the right time for this. But apparently, according to Gen Zers, this is the time you should reframe your lives. Does anyone else agree? Do you find October a time of rehealing, rebirth, re-emergence? I don't know. I mean, I can't work out whether this is that why Stoptober happened, do you think, in October? I did hear about the awful catfish story, Claire Cummins. It was so awful, I didn't feel we could really talk about it. It's such a sort of downer, isn't it? Dawny Harvey, I never fail at New Year's resolutions. I don't make them. Dawny, you know what? Your phrases, have I said this before? Your contributions on the channel need to go into a tiny book that sits at the front of Waterstones. That, when you're getting stocking fillers, you go, Dawny's. It's a Dawny's thoughts, something like that. You're so right. I've always been more September reset, says BSC Games Z. That's interesting. Oh, look, Bonnie Delaney. I met Ruby Wax on a mindful course. Pardon? Pardon? Nad? Oh, I thought she was talking to me. 3 birthdays in our house plus wedding anniversary and Halloween. It's Oktoberfest, Chris White. Well, you got a bit of Oktoberfest coming in 35 minutes. I trust you, Alzaran. I look forward to your email. Change into autumn, says Victoria Moore, is my least favourite. Seasonal depression. But do you think that could be why it's a good time to go take stock and let's just rebuild? Let's rebuild from the ground up. The leaves are falling. It might be deathly. Is it deathly? I don't know. I like October. I quite like November. I quite like having my birthday in November, if I'm honest. I like November. I think people should just do what they want to do, says Jackie Vellino. And do they do what they want to do when they want to do it? I think there's a song there, isn't there? I don't make resolutions either, says Clodagh. Just trying to continue being me. I try continuing to be me, and I hate it. It's terrible. I also met Ruby Wax when she was setting up the Frazzled Cafe. Unfortunately, I was manic at the time. Oh, sweetie. Yeah, it was a good... Are they still going, the Frazzled Cafes? I'm not too sure. This story here, 3 lines on a shirt. Drug barons are using Frank Lampard's face on bags of meth. Wow. Don't know. This is crazy. 3 lines legend Frank Lampard was left baffled after his photo was used on labels for a £38 million stash of deadly ice meth. I don't know how one takes it. Off me head, son. Frank's image used by gangs in drug deals. It's like there was some actor, wasn't it? I think, was it the guy from The Prodigy? His face was popped on acid tabs. Well, what's happened? Is that Nadia?
Toffees at Dina's Mash.
Oh, toffees at Dina's Mash. God, it's all going to happen today. Right, have you heard of this, girls? Ketchup is a great way to improve your hair.
Really?
Yeah, listen to this for your curly locks. A few dollops of tomato ketchup on your hair improves the purity of the colour, a top hairdresser claims. Anita Rice reckons the sausage butty sauce, says the Daily Star, is great when used as a hair toner. The co-founder of Bullet and Rice salons, which claim to be the first sustainable salons, say ketchup can be used to reduce khaki or greenish tone in the hair. I used to put lemon in my hair when I was on holiday and it would go bright blonde. Now I do, and I just have pips everywhere. I just get pips in my eyes. Who's an art fan here? Any art fans? I know there are a few. This banana, which was actually in an exhibition I saw recently at the Newport Street Gallery, it's a £1 million banana. And I want to ask you a question. This is a controversial work called Comedian. And it's a banana, for those of you listening, it's a banana that's gaffer taped to the wall. And it's called Comedian. Now, what I want to ask you guys is, why is it called Comedian? Because it's expected to sell for between £770,000 and 1.2 million. They say bananas used in the work have since been eaten twice, which I can't believe is true, because how does it stay yellow? I can't believe that. It can't stay yellow. Anyway, so why is it called Comedian? This is the question. Why has the artist... I don't know the answer to this, but I'm going to posit some thoughts. Would you buy a banana, Dina, gaffer taped to a wall for £1 million?
Yeah, of course I definitely would.
Would you call it art?
What is art?
Oh, what is art? You can't ask an art teacher if it's art. Put it in a gallery. Of course it's art. It's all art. Is it? Or is it? Maybe it isn't. I have to say I was quite drawn to this banana on the wall. For a banana... So, Comedian. Why do you think it's Comedian? The laundering is so blatant in the art world. Oh, good ship lollipop. Ooh. What bullshit, says Janine Amory. Okay, I'm going to get all art therapist. I'm going to get all art theorist on you. I think, yes, because it's a joke maybe. I think people don't realise that many artists are sticking their fingers up at the financial side of the art world. They're kind of like, fuck you. If you're willing to pay this money, take it. You idiot. You're all idiots. Because often the artists themselves, unless you're a Damien Hirst or Tracy Emin, the artists themselves don't see that money. It goes to all the agencies and all the kind of auction houses. I think this is called Comedian because the banana peel hasn't been used to trip someone up. Do you get me? You know, like a pratfall or something like that. That's what I think. But I think it's ridiculous. Bill Wyman says, no sympathy for old devil Mick Jagger. This is an odd one, this. The reason I pulled this is, bloody hell, get over it. So Bill Wyman has a go at Mick Jagger because he didn't become a successful actor or solo artist. What? But he's a very successful lead singer of the Rolling Stones. So, sour grapes. Safe sex for seagulls. Plan to give contraception to birds. Now, this is interesting. Apparently, in New York on the subways, they're giving rather than poisoning rats. And I tell you what, I saw a lot of rats over there, just on the streets. Rather than poisoning rats, this is clever. What they're doing is they're lacing their food with contraceptives so that they don't breed as much. I thought, this is such a fucking brilliant idea. But then I had a panic. What if all this stuff gets into the water system? And then I was scared. But anyway, this is the idea that they're going to give contraceptives to seagulls in various towns around the world, around the UK. They've done the same thing. So this is in Blackpool in Worcestershire. They've revealed that 376 pairs of seagulls live on retail estates and industrial estates. Most are black-backed gulls, and they want to give them the contraceptive pill. Exactly, DP. I think it's a great idea. It sounds really simple, but it's going to entirely mess with the ecosystem, isn't it? Suddenly, no one's going to be out of babies, or suddenly everyone's going to be having baby seagulls. That would just be awful, wouldn't it? I'm going to lose that one because I'm going to lose that one too. Oh well, this one I quite like this. This is oh no, not that one. One's company, two's a crowd. Solo dining is on the up. This is interesting, actually. I've noticed a lot more around London, more and more people eating on their own. And I think it's helped when restaurants steer or gear their seating arrangements, like places like sushi shops and Wagamamas, places where lots of people sit in sort of like production lines and have dinner with strangers. I think it's easier to kind of be anonymous, isn't it? It's when you have a table set for 4 and then you sit there on your own. That's when it becomes. But I think the problem with people eating on could any of you eat on your own in a restaurant? I think the problem for people eating on their own in a restaurant isn't for you. It's other people staring at you, isn't it? I mean, I personally have always been able to eat on my own in a sushi bar or anywhere that has kind of fast turnover food. But I don't know if I could walk. I mean, like, for example, I don't think I could even go into a Nando's on my own. And that's quite fast food. I could go into a McDonald's or something like that. You don't have anyone nicking your food if you're around Dawny. It's another one for the book, sweetie. Pop it in your book. I'm telling you right now, we need the Dawny book of aphorisms. Zoe, I don't have the Julie. I have phobia of eating in public, Julie the singing nutcase. Zoe, I don't have the confidence to go for dinner alone, but I can with coffee. It's interesting. Nadia, could you go for dinner on your own? No. See, there are certain things. I don't think I could go for dinner on my own.
I have.
Have you? Did you like it? Do you sit on your phone or do you look at other people?
I look at other people.
Do you?
Yeah,
fucking weirdo. I have, and it's like going to the cinema on my own. I love it. We went to a lovely place last night for a bite. Oh my God. Can I just quickly say, do not go and see the new Pedro Almodovar film. Please, not that any of you possibly were, but just don't. Me and Nadia we rarely walk out of films. We walked out. Reese, if you see this, it won the Golden Lion. Do not go and see it. It's just awful. Margaret Ann MacArthur, I love solo dining too, Sophia. Oh, wow. Good Ship Lollipop, going to the movies on your own is surreal. I've always done it. I remember the first film I saw on my own was The Goonies back in 1984. And I remember coming out and smoking a cigarette. It was really weird. I must have had a rebellious day that day. It's weird. It's awful, says Ushi. Are you talking about the film? It's so bad. It's so bad. Can't tell you, it's so bad. Ellery Jones, hey, sweetie. I have anxiety, but I'm working through it by having lunch sometimes on my own. It's really good to do it. And I think, just sit and, if you're Dina, just stare at people. I mean, just people watch, because people are going to look at you. But you know what? I think people secretly will look at someone dining on their own and they're a little bit envious. They think, I wish I had the courage and the wherewithal to be able to do that. But I like it. I think London is catering more and more for people to eat on their own, which I think is a good thing. I think more things in life need to cater for singletons. Paul Mescal was cast in Gladiator 2 after a 30-minute Zoom call, and according to Nadia, that's probably why he's been miscast. This is curious. This is Paul Mescal, Gladiator 2. We're all very excited about it. Apparently, they did, Nadia, flood the Colosseum with water and put ships in there. Can you believe that? They did that. That was historically true. In their attempt to win more, it's just like Hollywood. What can we do now? It's like a superhero film. Paul Mescal talks about the ease with which he got cast. And if you've seen the trailers, there's something weird about Paul Mescal being in Gladiator 2. He's trying to do a macho voice. And like Nad said, Nads feels he's been painfully miscast. This is only based on the trailers. But I pulled this headline because it made me laugh, because I think maybe this is why. He did a 30-minute Zoom call, Nads, with... That's more than you had to do, wasn't it, to get in Gladiators? Bloody hell. She had to do a dance. No, she didn't. The clock's going back is good for us, Dina, but not due to an extra hour in bed. What do you think this is about? So this is speaking back to perhaps October being a good time to do your New Year's resolutions. Apparently, the circadian rhythms of the body are better suited to the clock change that's happening now. It's the right balance of nighttime to daytime for our bodies. Apparently, the artificial body clock is we are forced into an artificial relationship with our circadian rhythm when the clocks spring forward. But when the clocks fall back, we actually settle back into where we should be. Apparently, experts believe that the winter switch to standard time better suits our sleep and our hormonal cycles. Would you agree, Dina? Do you agree with that? This is the change in the clocks that the sleep and circadian rhythm people like to see. The twice-yearly clock changes, which the UK adopted during the First World War, have long been controversial. Winter's standard time aligns best with natural light-dark cycles, as it means that at midday the sun is at its highest point. I think I kind of agree. I've noticed that when I look at my pattern of sleep across the year, it gets slightly longer, and I guess healthier when I get to the winter months. The summer months are tricky, but they do say that when you're sleeping at nighttime, you need total blackout. Which is, now I've said that, Nadja's going to be like, that's what we can do tonight, Nads. Blackout. Put the blackout fucking blinds up. Brilliant. We're not telling anyone why. This chap, I pulled this because it's in case you didn't know, 20-year anniversary of sobriety. This time, guess what, guys? This time 20 years ago, I was crashing around London like a fucking lunatic, absolutely off my mullah, not knowing what the hell was going on. Not good. Don't do it, kids. Doesn't work. Drugs don't work. Drug doesn't work. This guy's done a 55-year pub crawl. Wow. And at first I thought this guy's got a problem, but actually he's done it and he's kind of made a note of everyone. This is beer lover Rob Cocker. That's not him. He's got bored visiting his local all the time, so he decided to try a little ale further. 55 years on, he's travelled the length and breadth of Britain and has visited his 12,000th inn. I haven't got a photograph of him, but this is kind of what he looked like after drinking in all of them. Oh my God, who wants a baby orangutan? This is Sibu Jr. cuddling a toy. Oh, sometimes I just find animals so lovely. Better sleep in winter because it's cold for me, says Ushi Hirosaki. Thank you for contributing. I love your name as well. Where are you from, sweetie? Kavita, they change elsewhere too, like Europe, but not everywhere. I could do that, but with chip shops. Dawny Harvey. Put that in chapter 4. Observations about food and eating out. So cute, isn't he? Let's end on him anyway. Okay, guys, there you go. Thank you so much. Thank you. Can I also just say, thank you, all of you, for all of your comments under my Instagram stuff. We see them. I read them. Sometimes I will only respond to those that are from my family and stuff, because if I answer one, then I hate people feeling like I haven't answered them. But I will like them all when I see them, and I read them and I appreciate them, and they meant the world, especially the one under the Nick Cage. I am going to be posting about 20 years sobriety. I was in an AA meeting the other night, and the looks of astonishment I got from people, I realized myself it's quite an achievement, and I realize it's important to unpack it for some people who could better understand it. I've been really moved by many of you, and it's been a really challenging couple of weeks as well. So all of you in this live now and in much of the content we do, you really do help me. So I just want to say a big thank you for your kindness, your loyalty, your support, your humor, and your challenges when you kind of pull us up on stuff and clarify things. So thank you so much. I just want to say that personally. I rarely get a chance just to do that. So yeah, on that note, I'm going to head off, and in 22 minutes you're going to have a pair of buxom broads serving up some food, and I hope there's a sausage somewhere, and that's not just me.